Amanda here from Create Your Future. Guys, we have Simran joining us. Hey, Simran.
Hi, Amanda.
Guys, I'm really excited for Simran to join the team. She's got lots of experience. She's got a background in psychology, and she's also a mindset and success coach. And we've got a really exciting video today. We are going to both share our personal success stories of manifesting our marriages. So I'm really excited to share that. Also, guys, you know the drill. Anytime we have a new coach join, they offer 50% off, so you can come get to know them. Simran is absolutely amazing, and you guys are definitely going to see that throughout this video. So yeah, by the way, guys, if you haven't already heard, we do have a free course, How to Find Your Blocks to Manifest Anything Fast. Link is in the description. Definitely check it out. It's going to help you to build your mental diet, which is so incredibly important when you are trying to manifest something. Yeah, as well as we do have a Facebook group, Create Your Future with Amanda, Law of Attraction Hacks. And there you can actually go and read success stories, because that's what we post there, success stories. And, you know, when you read them, use them as a catalog for yourself. And you know what? The fact that you're reading them and it manifested in your reality, even if it was for somebody else, you still manifested that. So if you manifested it for them, you can manifest it for yourself as well, right? So yeah, definitely check that out. Lots of great feedback there. So yes, let's dive into it. I'm so excited to hear your success story of how you manifested your husband.
Hey, Amanda. Thank you. Thank you. So yes, I got inspired by you when you got married to Andrew. So yes, it started from there. And it did not happen overnight, for sure. And this is coming from somebody who's only had relationships that work for a month, maybe for 2 months, or maximum for 6 months. Okay. And then boom, blocked, no contact situations, utter silence, things of that sort would happen. But my SP turned now, my husband, he walked into my life when I had been working on myself, truly working on myself for, I think, around 2 years. Focused on my self-concept, really focusing on my self-worth, on feeling good enough, and on revising my story about myself and about just men in general, about love in general, because my experience had taught me that relationships are short-lived, that you can't be vulnerable. You're supposed to be good and happy and all dolled up all the time. And then your man is happy and, he stays with you. Versus now, I can be what I am. I can be vulnerable, I can be crying, I can be cranky and be happy, but your man stays with you. So it's like having each other's back through thick and thin and through all seasons of life, basically, because that's what you want. That's what you want in a marriage, right? So it was a complete transition for me, and that's how it all happened.
I love that. You know what? And it's so true. So, I remember when I first started dating Andrew, it's always the question, does he like me? This sort of thing, right? And one thing that I decided to manifest, in my life was that regardless of me being needy or desperate, like Andrew loves me. And you know what? In fact, he loves me. He loves it when I'm needy. And, and there's, and he does, he eats it up now. Like, I remember before when I thought being needy was like so bad, then he would be like, oh, you're being so needy, right? And then, now I change that story. And if I'm needy, he's just like, I'm like, oh, you know what? I just need the reassurance and stuff. And he's just like, he just eats it up. He's like, come here, gives me a hug and says all these nice things of affirmation, and I'm like, you're loving this. He's like, I love it when you're needy. I'm like, of course, right? So nothing has to be bad, right? So how I manifested my marriage was, it was so funny. So I manifested the, moving in together, right? And that was difficult. And okay, so you would think once you moved in together, getting married is a no-brainer. No, of course not. He was still like, no, I don't want to get married. I'm like, what? We live together. Like, how much more do you want to get being married than what we already are doing? So we're already playing house together. Like, seriously? So anyway, so then I was like, I just started saying, I'm like, you know what? We're basically common law, so it's like we're already married, and I just kept saying that, and it did take a little while. I wasn't really putting a lot to it. I had my own story about being married, because I honestly never wanted to get married at all throughout my life until basically Andrew, because I've always had, great relationships and long-term relationships. Like my ex before Andrew, I was with him for 14 years. We were living together. We were pretty much married, but I never did want to get married. And I thought, you know what, I want to experience this. So I had to go through all my own stories that I had about getting married. And I went through those, and And then Andrew still didn't want to. And then I was like, nope, it's like, we're already married. It's like, we're already married. And then, you know what? I'm not kidding you. It was like, it was the exact, like, we're in the car, and we just finished fighting. Okay. And I'm in tears. I'm crying. Right. We were just like, sorry. And all of a sudden he's like, let's go to the mall. And I'm like, why? And he's like, let's go find a ring for you. And I was just like, what? Like, you're proposing? Like, so we just had a huge fight, right? And now we're driving to the mall to go pick out this ring. And, and even though it wasn't like a surprise engagement, but he said exactly that. He's like, I figured it would be good because it's like we're already married anyway. And I was like, of course, right? So that's why I like creating mantras, because it just like, and the best mantra is from your complaints. Like, if you were to say, Amanda, I want a commitment, what's my mantra? Well, I don't know. What's your major complaint? Why don't you have it now? And that's what Simran can help you find on a coaching call. What's your major complaint? Because that's going to be the biggest shift. Like mine was, he was previously married and he had baggage. He didn't want to do it again. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, how silly to like cut him off from being with me because he had previous, bad marriage. I'm like, how rude of me.
My love story, my marriage story had all the unusual elements. Okay, he is 3 years younger to me, and we come from a different religion. Okay, different states altogether, with different cultures. So the story came up that his family would not accept me, and that did happen. Actually, I got to experience that in my 3D, and I had to work my way through it. And now we're happily married. My in-laws love me. It's so supportive. So, I mean, you want to feel cherished and adored, not only by your husband, but by the family as well. So I got a mix of both.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. That's true. And one thing that brings to mind a question we always get, is about different religions, right? So, you can intend that even though maybe it's like, something because the different religions that is not going to be approved of, you can change that story and say, no, you know what? That's no longer a story. Nobody follows that anymore. It doesn't matter what religion we are. They're happy for us, because all your circumstances are created by your thoughts, right? And to change them, you just need to change your thoughts, right?
True that. And in fact, after our marriage, they love me so much more than they even thought. And they said I was the best girl they could ever have found for their son. So I am the best they could ever find.
Exactly, right? Exactly. What's said in the 4D will show in the 3D, because remember, our entire reality is just a reflection of all of our assumptions, our thoughts, and our beliefs, right? And that's it. And the reason why I say thoughts is because, we can't deny that we've had that one fleeting thought and it's popped up because we have zero resistance to it, right? So, like for instance, I was like, oh, you know what? I intend somebody to bring me some vegetables because I had no vegetables and I didn't want to go shopping. Next thing you know, my mom comes, she phones me. I'm just in the area. I'm like, okay. She's like, can I come over for coffee? And I'm like, okay. She shows up and she's got cauliflower and lettuce. And I'm like, oh yeah, there you go. Right. Like, I'm like, oh, I should have maybe ordered some carrots and celery too. Right. But whatever, so even if a little fleeting thought, there's no resistance, but when you got a resistance, you've got to go in and you've got to change the story. And, I think one thing is working on your self-concept is very important. You need to come from the premise that you're perfect, whole, and complete. But, take that a step further. I hear people say, look, I've been working on my self-concept and he's still not coming in. Well, that's because you need to work on your assumption about the person.
Yes, about your person, about your equation with that person, about the kind of relationship you're wanting to have. So all those factors need to be worked upon.
Exactly. And for me, right, my major block was, it wasn't my self-concept. I was baffled, because not just Andrew, but the guy I was dating before Andrew was previously married and didn't want a commitment either. Yet I've had successful relationships all throughout my life. And I've always been the one to dump guys. And they've always been like knocking at my door. Like it's always been since I was young. So I was like really baffled with these two. So, the one before Andrew, there was other things I didn't want to take my time to recreate. He didn't have a very good job. There was just, I wanted someone professional. I kind of actually just wanted a lawyer. I don't know why. And I'm like, well, you know what? I can manifest this guy going to law school, but I'm like, that's going to take 5 years. I'm like, why, So I wrote a list and called in Andrew, and then he showed up the same way. that didn't want a commitment. And I was like, what the heck, right? You know, and then it finally surfaced. And then I remember I said that with my girlfriend when I was like in my 20s and we were drinking, and I didn't even mean it. I was just like, oh yeah, men that are previously married have baggage. They don't want to get married again. You know, but that's not even true, because tons of guys and women get married 2, 3, 4 times. But it doesn't matter if it was true or not. I said the statement. It has to show up for me, right? So it did, right?
Story. I was in 8th standard, and I had my friend come up to me and say that you're not girlfriend material. And I was taken aback. I'm like, I'm not girlfriend material? I mean, to an 8-year-old, yeah, I'm not girlfriend material. She said, you are wifey material. That no one can be with you just as a girlfriend and then leave and go off. You are wifey material. So at a very young age, I had that in my head, and it just stayed with me. So even to anybody watching, you can ingrain this and take this and make this your mantra that I am marriage material, I am wifey material.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, me, I always say, I'm a damn good wife. And Andrew stays until I change my mind.
Yeah, you stay until I change my mind.
Darn right he does, right? So, yeah, I really hope, I know, well, we've given you some great tips, guys, absolute great tips. And you know what, leave any sort of comment on the video. If there's any sort of video topics that you would like us to cover, I'm always happy to see some video ideas. It helps me, keep in touch with everybody and what people want to hear. And yeah, definitely subscribe and hit the bell icon, because I do lives and I will answer your questions there. Yeah, and so anything else you want to add, Simran?
Yes, thank you for having me, Amanda, and thank you to everyone who's been a viewer here, who subscribed. We have a lot of newcomers here, I can see on the channel, and we'd love to help you out. We're here for you. Please bring your questions. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.